What if there were multiple frequencies that you could access, and on these multiple frequencies or different frequencies existed a different life for you, and an alternative version for you that is more aligned and living out your dreams and desires and the things that you want? Well, what if I was to tell you this is not far from the truth and is actually what's going on? That there are, in a sense, infinite versions of yourself that you can access through different choices, thinking differently, and changing your frequency and vibration. And what if I was also to tell you that the way you go about this isn't to go out there and hustle and grind? In fact, that's going to do the opposite and just put you on a frequency where you have to continue to hustle and grind to get more of what you want, but also burn out and have relationship problems, probably health problems, and so much more. There is a frequency where a version of you exists, where you have the things you want in your life, where you have the dream home, the dream income, the dream job, the dream partner, the health that you want. That version of yourself already exists in the field. It isn't about you needing to create something from nothing, but simply aligning yourself to that frequency and this alternate frequency than the one you're currently on for this to start becoming your regular reality. And so how do we start moving on to this different frequency? And the real question is, how do we become the version of ourselves that has X, Y, or Z in our lives? How do we become the person that is aware and more enlightened and is great health, is financially just wealthy and has a great wealth frequency, has the relationships that he or she wants, and basically just knows how to create and continually create more and more in their life in the ways that they want, that knows to the greatest degree the powerful creator that they are, and is fully confident that they can continue to create anew each time there is something they want to create, because you are a creator. Well, again, that exists. We need only tap into it. And so we're going to go over how you can start tapping into this version of yourself, not to where you're connecting to this and it's something where it's separate from you, but to where you're molding with this, where you're melding with this, because it already is something that's a part of you, where you are actually becoming this in this unit of time right now so that you can live out whatever it is this person is going to be living out. Now, the first thing we need to recognize with this is it's not something that starts from the external world. Your external world follows the inner world or your inner space. And so you're going to have to make changes and alterations within the inner world of yourself rather than the external. Now, this doesn't mean you won't take external action. You know, external actions are incredibly important. And so anyone who tells you, oh, you just need to meditate on the sofa somewhere, I would run the other way, because of course the physical serves a purpose, and through what we do in the inner world, it's going to inspire you to do certain things in the physical. When you start shaping yourself differently from the inner space, you will be compelled to do something in this amazing playground we have called the physical world. However, it's through the inner world where we upgrade our energetic frequency that is going to put us, in a sense, on that same timeline or frequency of the version of yourself that you want to be living out. We need to connect to this first before it's here physically, and then remain there for long enough until one day you wake up and realize, holy crap, I'm living out that timeline or living out that lifeline at this very moment. One of the funny things about when this actually does happen is sometimes you don't even realize it's happened because you're normalizing this all the way through as you're moving onto this frequency. You just start getting used to being incredibly appreciative and grateful and being in a more loving energy. You just get used to being more of a service to others, which is a huge way in which you can lift your frequency. You just start getting used to these things to the point when you wake up and finally realize that you're now that person and all of these things have come in. It may have actually taken you a little bit to realize that's happened because it's become very normal for you. It's become a part of your personal or your personality, which, like Dr. Joe Dispenza will say, becomes your personal reality. So by upgrading our energetic frequency inwardly and staying on that new level of frequency as often as we can, it doesn't have to be all the time, you're just doing your best to stay here as often as you can, the more you start to become this person you need to become. And when you've become that person you need to become, by law, the natural principles of the universe, of the field, have to start bringing the physical equivalents into your life that match this new frequency you're on. Again, those things exist on that frequency. You need only put yourself on that frequency, again, follow through on the inspired actions that come up to then receive what's on that frequency. But if you're not on that frequency, you can never get what's on it. In the same way, if you're listening to rock and roll on station 99.9, but you want to listen to jazz and it's on station 102.9, you can't stay on the rock and roll station to listen to the jazz. No matter how long you stay on the rock and roll station, no matter how much you want to listen to jazz, it will not change. You will not hear jazz. You will not get those manifestations until you shift the frequency to the one that plays jazz. And it is the same with your life and with what you're bringing in. You will not receive the manifestations you want until you are on the frequency where those manifestations exist. And again, the version of yourself who is the equivalent to those manifestations is living. That version is there, but you need to shift yourself to that version and become that for you to receive what it is that you actually want. Keep this in mind, and you may have heard it before, we do not get what we want. We get who we are. And so we don't get things by wanting things, we get things by becoming who we need to be and the version of you who would just naturally have those things. For example, if you want more money in your life, but you have a lack mentality and the frequency you're on always has beliefs like I never have enough, I can't earn enough, I can't do this to earn money, or whatever it is, you can't expect that to change the physical experience you're having with money. However, when you shift those beliefs first and you're on the frequency and becoming the person who believes money is abundant, I always have enough, there's so many opportunities coming into my life all the time to earn more money in ways that I enjoy and I love and help me serve, and you actually believe that and keep sticking to that frequency, well, suddenly the external will start to shape itself around that because you're now on that station, on that frequency where those things exist and can come into form. Just keep in mind, what frequency are you frequenting? I'm going to give you some ideas and some things you can put into action to help you with this, but this is the name of the game. If you want to live at a higher level, higher frequency, higher dimension, higher timeline that has more, or lifeline that has more of the things you actually want, you can't just want them. You have to become the person who is a match to those things. Now, how do we go about doing this? Well, the most simple way, or not simple way in the sense of it's easy, because you have to train yourself to get good at this, but it is your thoughts. You know, if we look at ancient wisdom and those who were within secret societies and the Egyptian mystery schools, they were very aware of the power of your thoughts. Your thoughts actually have a vibration. They can shift the frequency that you're on. But if you allow the thoughts of the current frequency you're on just to pervade your mind and be the ones running the show, you're never going to shift because you're just having the same thoughts over and over again that have created or helped to create whatever is currently in your life. Keep in mind that we have about 60 to 80,000 thoughts every single day. 60 to 80,000. I really want you to allow that to hit you and to kind of like dawn on you how many thoughts that is. And so if you're not taking conscious control to monitor your thoughts, to implant thoughts that you want, kind of suggest them to your mind and reject the thoughts that don't serve you and accept the thoughts that do, then you're just going to stay on the frequency you're on. Because what's going to happen is because of the frequency you're on, your thoughts are going to match that frequency unless you, as the creative being you are, start to introduce intentional new thoughts and start to reject the thoughts that aren't the ones you want to be entertaining. And so if you're at a certain frequency and you hear thoughts all the time that go, oh, we never have enough. And then you see something on TV about someone struggling. See, money is hard to get. And it's always going to come from that lens because it's on that frequency. If you don't in those moments start to go, well, wait a second, I don't think that's true. There are plenty of people who have more than enough and have an abundance, right? Or you know what, I think I can earn some more money. You know, there's many things I can do. There's opportunity all around me. And if you don't keep leveling up those thoughts and start suggesting better ones and engaging in things that suggest better ones to you, you're going to stay at that same frequency. Thought is incredibly powerful. If we look at The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, which is in my eyes, one of the best audios ever created, and it's like an 18-minute audio on the one side, and then you could do the 30-day challenge, which is on the other. But the 18 minutes is when he's going over basically The Strangest Secret. And it simply is this: you get what you think about most of the time. And so, can you honestly say that those 60 to 80,000 thoughts you're having a day are thoughts that are helping you to move to the frequency you want to be on, or helping you move towards becoming who you need to become? Or are they helping you to remain in place, or possibly even regress into the person you do not want to become? So thoughts are powerful. Now, one way to approach this is pretend that there is a bouncer that's at the doorway to your mind. And the bouncer is seeking out to basically only let in thoughts that serve you in being on this higher frequency. Now, sometimes you're going to let some through that don't, because you have certain patterns and other things, so you don't beat yourself up for this. But you just become a little more vigilant and intentional. Now, again, you also want to be suggesting to yourself and influencing yourself with things around you that suggest to you in a good way, and we'll go over how to do that. But ultimately, when a thought comes up, you want to look at it and go, is this going to serve me in being on this frequency, or does it help me stay on this frequency, or is it pulling me down? If it's pulling you down, you can even imagine the bouncer turning this thought away, give it a form, and saying, no, you're not allowed to come in, we don't want you. And then what you can do in its place is replace the thought with its opposite, or what you do want to allow in. So, for example, let's say, again, using money or using manifestations, like, you know what, I've seen other people manifest, but it just doesn't work for me. Thoughts trying to get into your mind, the bouncer goes, nope, we don't want you in here, so you cannot come in here. Then shift it to a thought that's in that same vein. So, you know what, many other people are able to manifest, and there's so many examples I can look at, so surely I can too. That thought comes right on in. Now, this is something you need to be constantly on. And again, sometimes you'll go unconscious. Don't worry, it's going to happen. But the more you do this and kind of use that bouncer to be vigilant, the more you're going to start inserting more of these positive thoughts that are helping you into the kind of mind bank, if you want to say it, and not allowing the others in, which is going to make them weaker and have less influence. You can literally mentally shape your future by making sure your thoughts are more pure. And like anything else, the more you practice this, the better you'll get. You'll develop this muscle. And to have mind control over yourself is, in my eyes, one of the most valuable skills you can have. The ability to empty your mind, the ability to fill it with what you want, the ability to have boundaries against the things you do not want in there that aren't serving you, is one of the greatest skills I believe you can have, because it allows you to shape your reality basically in the ways that you want. So much of it starts at the level of thought. And again, this is not coming from me. This is coming from some of the most wisest teachers down the ages. This is coming from ancient Egyptian mystery schools. This is coming from those in secret societies who understand how reality is shaped, right? Who are privy to this kind of information. If you control your thoughts, you will control your reality. And so it is an amazing training to do in just monitoring your thoughts, pretend the bouncer is there, and let only the things you want in while turning away the others. You do not need to let every thought that comes across your mind into you, right? You can just look at it, be like, oh, well, that's interesting, and not attach yourself to it. You can just see the things that you do want in and go, oh, that's cool, I will take that. Almost treating it like a buffet of what you want and turning away what you do not want, right? Now, one other way that's going to help you do this is you want to be in environments that help these thoughts come about. And what I mean is, what you're engaging in, kind of your mental diet, is going to go a long way to developing your thoughts and putting you on the frequency you want to be on. So being a part of certain groups, reading certain books, consuming content that's of a positive nature goes a long way into doing this. Now, if you want help with this and you're tired of trial and error and you're tired of not getting the results that you want, then we have just opened up our community, Mold Your Reality, that's going to help you every step of the way. We've made it incredibly affordable because I want to work with more people in helping them create their reality in the ways they want. And that is linked down below in the description as the first link. So check that out if you're serious about finally getting this right and you don't want to spend all this time trying to figure it out and maybe never figuring it out since you don't know where to go. This way, we can hold your hand, we can show you what to do, you get mentorship from me, you get so much, an amazing community. So check out more information down below. And that's going to do it for this video. Remember to monitor your thoughts. You are mentally shaping your reality in every single moment. So by having control of this, you are going to be able to shape it in the ways that you want by putting yourself on those frequencies of the person you need to become to realize and experience what it is that you want.